on his way. Devil is on his way. Devil is on his way, motherfucker. The devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Fall to your knees. Devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Motherfucker, he's on his...
Mountain Murders is an Appalachian true crime podcast. Listener discretion is advised. The show contains graphic language and depictions of violence. It may not be suitable for all audiences.
We say fuck a lot. Hey guys, welcome back to Mountain Murders.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
And he's a toddler.
Oh my gosh, I feel great today.
We have to do like a sweep of Dylan's podcast area before we can record.
Don't tell people that.
Yeah, so we have to move away any like little objects that he might toy with or tinker with like while we're trying to record.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to touch if I'm not actively using my laptop, which I'm typically not allowed to do. I'm not allowed to touch my mouse. I can't have small objects. I'm fidgety.
You can't have paper clips.
No.
Ink pens, nothing.
Oh God, no! If I had an ink,
he'll tap it, click it.
He's
so antsy. I tell him he has to like get out the Dylan energy before we start because he's so wiggly.
Baby,
what's wrong with you?
I'm so very in love with you today.
Yeah. Oh God.
That's truth.
You just want me to say Happy Father's Day.
Oh, is it Father's Day?
Daddy Dylan, it's Father's Day.
I didn't even realize. Oh my gosh.
Are you going to tell our listeners I'm your daddy now?
Speaking of that, we watched a weird movie called Come to Daddy. Check that out. It was very strange. Elijah Wood.
Very strange.
Yes.
There's something unsettling about Elijah Wood.
Yes, we were actually talking about how he can play creepy very well.
Yeah, he has a serious creepiness to him.
And he's also perpetually young. So that's strange.
Never ages.
But anyway, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, or the
moms playing dad.
The mom dads or the dad moms.
The men who step up.
Yeah. Hey.
And answer the call.
Yeah. If you're a father, you're a father. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about gender or any of that shit.
All the logistics don't matter.
That's right. If you go around monitoring the thermostats and shutting doors and making sure.
And bitching about who's using all the toilet paper and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes. Then you're a father, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
I've been my own daddy for a long time, I think.
So we hope you have a great day, and here we are on Father's Day recording. So that's wonderful. And what else do you have there?
Well, Dylan, let's start the show by thanking our lovely patrons who contributed over at patreon.com/Mountain Murders Podcast. We have a few.
Yes, we would like to thank Deidre, Dustin, Lauren, Stacy, and William.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. And some of those people have slid in on our Discord chat.
It's been a lot of fun.
Which is awesome. It grows every day, and we absolutely love talking and getting to know our patrons and our listeners.
Well, I know we've got some listeners who happen to be long-haul truckers, like William, our new patron. He sent us a message, said he's on the road, listens to the show quite a bit, and I'm so glad that we get to go along on so many awesome adventures with you fine folks.
Wait a second. He's taking us along?
Yeah, we've been all over the road, Dylan. We just didn't even know we've been all over the country.
Where the hell's my check at, William?
You're just taking in the scenery, bro.
Yeah, no, that's very exciting and really awesome that we can go along with you on your trip.
Yeah, I think that's cool because if you were a trucker, you get bored being in the cab all the time. So having a podcast got to be a great way to break up the monotony.
Oh, dude, I would rip through so many podcasts if I was on the road that much.
Yeah.
Right.
No shit.
I mean, we listen to like 20 hours of content driving to Michigan and back.
I remember my dad, because he's a trucker, back in the day, like in the 90s, kind of in his heyday, I remember he had like a gigantic like suitcase tape, like a tape storage, but it was like suitcase size and had about 1 million cassette tapes.
Oh man, I bet he had some great tapes in there.
Oh, it was like George Strait and, stuff like that. And he would like just listen to hours of music, until he would like make it through all of his tapes.
Yeah.
And then he'd come home after like 2 weeks and be like, oh, hell, you can have them. I'm sick of them tapes. Because he'd listened to them so much.
I could see that happening.
Yeah. So, Dylan, before we get started, I just want to comment. Like, we live in an area that is pretty restaurant deprived. Like, we have just a handful of places to dine, and most of them have been here forever. and sort of win by default.
To put it in perspective, people will literally drive 40 plus miles to go have a nice meal at a restaurant
Yes.
away from here.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So I feel like a lot of our listeners can probably understand that if they live in a rural area like we do. So yeah, we got this new diner in town.
We'll just call it a diner.
Well, that's all I'm going to say is it's a diner. And people have been raving about this diner like it's the best thing ever. Oh, and it's brunch and blah, blah, blah. So today we decided, okay, it's Father's Day. We're going to get some takeout from this diner. I'm expecting brunch items like Eggs Benedict, Monte Cristo, something like that. I was very disappointed with this menu. It's like salads and sandwiches.
Well, look, it is but mostly salads and sandwiches. They have a few other things on there, but there was nothing. I was maybe expecting like a twist on traditional classics, the diner classic with a twist, a modern twist or gourmet twist, whatever. And it was pretty straightforward, and it's like salads and sandwiches.
Kind of lackluster.
Yeah, but I will say.
It's like the sandwiches that are on every menu at every restaurant.
That's true.
Everywhere.
My sandwich was good. Right, my sandwich. I ate a fried catfish sandwich.
Who orders a fried catfish sandwich?
This guy over here with two thumbs.
Weird.
Yeah, but I will say there was no tartar sauce, and they had onions and tomato with it, which I found. I don't know. Anyway, not going to trash them too bad, but it's just another run of the mill kind of middle of the road.
I just have to say I'm like really disappointed because I was like excited that we had a new place to eat. It's not far from our house, and then it just is like. Ugh.
We're going to try it some more.
Well, I ordered the Reuben, and I feel like the Reuben that we make here at home was better.
Well, and one of the last things I'll say about the place is they're not signature sandwiches. They're not Dylan's signature sandwiches, and therefore that's what's missing in your Reuben.
You think so?
Yeah. The love.
Yeah, I feel like you make my corned beef very crispy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's loved. It's well loved.
You got to put that kraut on the grill, too. You got to get a little bit of browning on the kraut.
Okay, so I feel like this is a significant amount of bullshit, and now it's time to get into our true crime case for today, our true crime case. And this is one that has been on my list for some time. It's somewhat of a local case, and I found it very fascinating. Finally getting around to telling the story.
Yeah, we discussed this story very early on in Mountain Murder's, birth and inception. So it's a good, years now we've been talking about this. And it's just, it's really one of the most senseless, random crimes you'll ever hear of.
And frightening.
I
think that's why the story stands out to me, because I remember when it happened. It's not like we're going in the Wayback Machine today. So it was only, decade or so ago, but the fact that it was just such a terrifying situation.
Well, take us down that road.
Let's get into it, Dylan. We're going to be in Atlanta, Georgia right now.
Ooh.
August the 4th, 2008 was a Monday, and in Atlanta, the entire month of August, the temperature had been teetering just below 90 degrees. So it had been a sticky, hot, sweltering summer.
Ooh.
And you were born in Atlanta.
You damn right.
And
that's when Atlanta got its nickname Hotlanta.
And that's when
on March 30th,
straight went into decline, right?
Yeah, March 30th, 1978 is actually that term was coined because Dylan Packer came forth into the world in Atlanta.
Well, I was going in a different direction with this, but Atlanta's hot as hell, isn't it?
Atlanta is sweltering.
It's muggy.
Yes.
Sticky. It's humid.
Oh, it sounds like
it's like a concrete jungle down there because it's just fucking hot.
Sounds like me in the bedroom.
No breeze.
Yeah.
Right? So it can be miserable in the summertime there.
Yes, that's very true.
You'd have to adapt and overcome. So 25-year-old Tiffany Lee Marion and her 19-year-old classmate, Jada McCutcheon, were hanging out at Tiffany's apartment. Now, the pair had met while enrolled at the Everest Institute's massage therapy program. And I was just curious, had to look up the Everest Institute. And I think it's one of those, like, we have a lot of TV commercials, but we're not like an accredited university kind of places.
Sort of like a correspondence
Yeah. Well, it seems like it was kind of like one of those for-profit schools back in the day.
So you're basically give us your money, you can go through the courses, but it's really not going to help you. It's not going to be recognized by most people in your industry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I did have to look that up because I'd never heard of it before. So they were chilling on Marion's porch when a gold minivan pulls in to the apartment complex parking lot. Inside was Jason Johnson, who happened to be Jada McCutcheon's fiance, and he was driving. Jada encouraged her friend Tiffany to join them as they were just going to go drive around Atlanta, get high, smoke some marijuana, pop a few ecstasy tablets, ride around.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to want to have a bunch of ecstasy and then just go ride around in a van.
I've never done ecstasy.
Seems like one of those, like, I should have some, like,
Yeah.
like techno music, and you'll, like, dance. Just dance. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done ecstasy or the whole Molly thing and all that, but it definitely seems like you're somewhere or something that your environment like really adds to your buzz.
Yeah, so just the fact that they were popping ecstasy and driving around in a van in like hot Atlanta just was very strange to me. But anyway, moving along with the story. So inside the van were also Jason Johnson's friends, a guy named Jeffrey Miles, and another dude named Freak.
Ooh.
Now, obviously that is a nickname, but all the resources I found simply call him Freak. We don't have a full name.
Well, maybe for all you don't know it's a nickname. Maybe his mama named him Freak Johnson after her grandfather.
And then soon he's going to be like the symbol formerly known as Freak.
Maybe he's Freak Jeffrey Johnson the Fourth. For all you know, that might be his real name.
He's just Freak?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you done?
I think so.
Okay, so after the five friends spent the bulk of the evening and the early morning hours just getting their kicks, Jeffrey Miles suggests they drive to Cherokee, North Carolina, nearly 150 miles away, to gamble at a casino.
Yeah, that's a what? About a 2-hour ride? 2 hour and 15, 20 minutes?
Like 2.5 hours.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so Miles had been to this particular casino several times before, and he promised everyone would have a good time. Up for anything, the five agree to make the road trip, smoking more pot and taking more ecstasy, combining that with heroin and cocaine. So I don't know if like the ecstasy had some heroin and cocaine in it, or if they also just additionally had the heroin and cocaine, but it was mentioned in several news articles.
Damn, so a drug cocktail, if you will.
Yeah, they just getting fucked up, Dylan.
Yeah, I think marijuana's the least of their worries.
The group had no plans to stay overnight. No one packed a bag. Tiffany Marion realized the only item that she had on her person was a small Coach bag that she had left home with. So again, these people were like not prepared to have some kind of overnight outing.
Yeah, but they're young and they're doing something spontaneous. That's not necessarily a bad thing. And then they may very well go on to have or they could have had a, fun, interesting evening and had a little bit of fun.
It was well after midnight when the group began driving north into the Carolinas. And by the time they arrived in Cherokee, North Carolina, it was nearing 8 a.m. on Tuesday morning.
What the fuck?
What?
Why did it take them 8 a.m.?
Yeah.
Why did it take them so long?
I don't know.
Wow, that's like...
I don't know what their detours are, Dylan. I don't know their life.
Well, yeah, but so I must...
Maybe somebody is like me and had a small bladder and had to pee a couple of times.
Well, I must point out, it's like just over a 2.5 hour ride, and this is more like 8 hours. So that's interesting.
Well, these people have been fucked up.
That's true.
I don't know how people taking ecstasy drive.
They might have come through Ohio.
They might have went around the long way. I don't know. So Harris Cherokee Casino Resort is a casino and hotel on the Koala boundary in Cherokee, North Carolina. It is owned by the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians and operated by Caesars Entertainment. So the cool thing about where Harris is located is that I remember as a child, there was a theme park there called Frontierland.
Really?
Do you remember this?
No, I actually
don't. There was
don't.
also a water park in that area called Breakers from when I was a kid. So I don't know. I just have that memory when I am in and around the casino.
Frontierland.
Yeah. So it is one of two casinos located in North Carolina. And Harris opened this casino in 1997. The interesting thing, if you're not familiar, is that the tribe has used the casino revenues to build a new high school, a hospital, public housing, upgrade public safety services on the reservation, like police, fire, EMS. And part of the casino's revenue is distributed directly to the Cherokee population in the form of a basic income. A lot of people call it per cap income, but it comes in twice a year.
Yeah, it's a significant amount.
Yeah. So they're making like lots of money off this casino. By this time, the casino's been fully operating, probably a good 10 years. Lots of folks going there. So it's a place to be, right? Security footage would record Marion and Miles entering the casino floor just after 8 a.m. on Tuesday morning. So since Miles and Marion were the only two old enough to gamble, the others went across the street to a Days Inn motel where they secured a room for the day.
Dude, you want me to go ride to the casino and I can't even go in. I can't even get a drink. Which at this time, I think the reservation was still dry. So you can't even buy a beer in a damn, convenience store and take it to a hotel room. So, yeah, what the fuck?
Jeffrey Miles made his way to the blackjack table where he spent the next few hours making bets. Now, during the course of this table gameplay, Miles ends up handing Tiffany Marion a $1,000 chip from his winnings, and he tells her to keep it.
Ooh.
So he is doing very well. He hands her this money. He's like, girl, this is for you.
So he's playing blackjack and he's winning.
Yeah. And obviously making those money moves. Can you give a $1,000 chip?
He's trying to make some other moves.
Miles won around $2,700 and was given a complimentary 3-night stay in a room, number 942, at Harrah's Cherokee Casino and Resort. So he's comped a room.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
I never get comped anything.
He's come to have fun. He obviously knows how to gamble, it sounds like. Has done it before. And so far, the night's going pretty good, right?
Do you like table games?
You've been with me when I insisted that I was going to play live dealer blackjack at this very casino. And I walked in there, and found the blackjack area. And I'm like, this is going down because blackjack is simple enough. I can grasp it. It's not like freaking some complicated formulas in poker and all that. And I walked up and it was $25 minimum bet. And I walked away. I was like, that's rich people games right there. No, sir.
So then we went to seek out my favorite Dolly Parton poker machine.
That you always win $80 to $100 on.
I do. Yeah. Well, I got to put the Jolene song on. You can choose your soundtrack while you're playing. And Dolly never lets me down.
And we proceeded to get...
I always win back my $20 and then some.
We proceeded to get intoxicated.
Fucked up.
On your winnings off the Dolly machine.
About the best thing you can do when you're there.
But no, I've always wanted to play more of that and try some of that, but it's just I'm just too cheap, I think.
I'm cheap as well. I'm not really a big gambler, but I do find that I like to play roulette over like blackjack or poker at the gaming tables. I think roulette's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's yeah.
So during the next few hours on Tuesday, when he wasn't on the casino floor, Miles and Marion were in the hotel room having sex, though she would later deny this during her interview with the police, but would admit it during testimony.
Okay, so at first she's like, no, that didn't happen. But when she's under oath and feels like she could get in trouble for lying, she tells the truth.
Yeah, she's like, hey, we fucked like 3, 4, 5 times this day.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Damn.
So on Wednesday, Jada, Jason, and Freak joined the pair in the casino hotel room, mostly doing drugs and watching television. So by Thursday, the party is over. The group has run out of money and drugs. Freak, Tiffany, and Jada spent most of the Thursday hanging out alone in the hotel room as Jason Johnson and Jeffrey Miles were kind of in and out all day.
So they come out just to have some fun, for the evening. He ends up winning some money and getting this free room for 3 days.
Yes.
Which is how casinos operate. Keep you around. Make sure you spend every dime back into the casino. And so they've been just living it up. And now it's turned into multiple days that they've been doing this, right?
Yeah.
And you have the two older guys popping in and out of the room because they're actually gambling and enjoying the rest of the casino.
Well, and it seemed like maybe not exactly gambling, maybe Miles was, but they were just kind of in and out of the room, and like the other three didn't really know what they were doing all day.
Okay.
It sounded almost as if they were being kind of covert about what they were doing.
Oh, that's whatever we're doing doesn't include you guys.
Yeah, just kind of like leaving them out of the fold the whole day. Maybe just trying to hustle up some money. I'm not sure. So it was on Thursday night that the two men, Johnson and Miles, drive to Walmart in Sylva, North Carolina, which is about 15 minutes away from the casino. So while they're at Walmart, Johnson and Miles meet two local boys whom they would mostly refer to throughout the evening as the White Boys.
Okay.
It is unclear how 20-year-old Dean Mangold or 21-year-old Mark Goolsby met Jason Johnson and Jeffrey Miles. All we know, based on reports and testimony, is that Miles invited these two guys to party with them at their hotel room in Cherokee at the casino. Mangold and Goolsby were from Jackson County, so they knew the area well, and were like, sure, we'll come hang out.
Well, yeah, and there's not a lot going on.
Well, I'm going
out
to say
there.
there's not a lot to do.
Yeah.
It's a pretty quiet, sleepy little town. So
Yeah.
I'm sure, hey, we're going to go party at the casino. Sounds like fun, right?
Yeah, well, I might go if I'm just sitting around being bored, and then someone's like, "Hey, I got a room at the casino." Blah blah blah. They might have been like, "Hey, we got some drugs, some chicks there,
Could go get us some Ruth's Chris.
Ugh. I ain't buying them overpriced steaks. You crazy?
When Miles and Johnson bring more folks to the hotel room for a party, they end up taking a little bit of drugs that they have left. Then Mangold starts talking about he wants more weed. The conversation then takes a dark turn as the group begins discussing hitting a lick.
Okay, so for the uninitiated, now they're talking about who could we roll, who could we rob.
Well, I had to look up the definition of hitting a lick.
Uh-uh.
Thank you, Urban Dictionary, which means to make fast money, usually by means of robbery or some other illegal activity.
Okay,
So is that what you were trying to say, Dylan?
that's exactly what I said.
That is going to roll somebody?
Yeah,
What does that mean?
that's you're going to rob them. Roll them up.
Why do I feel like you've done this before?
That's when you knock someone out and then you roll them over and check their pockets. I have not ever. I'm not a violent person, but I've known people that were.
That would roll somebody?
Yeah. Known of them, rather.
Damn.
Yeah. No, I don't associate with those types.
Damn, Dylan, you dangerous.
No, but I've been around some, rather mean people. Some people just knock you out.
Well, this
just to
sounds
look
like a
at
very
you.
unsavory situation. So the conversation goes from, hey, we should get some more weed. I want some more weed to like, yo, let's go roll somebody.
Yeah, well,
Let's hit a lick.
yeah, well, that's, I mean, I guess they're just kids, and it seems to me like some members of this group are trying to kind of be tough, like they're super fucking cool, and the younger members of the group are kind of along for the ride with them, and now they've met these locals, and that's going to give them more opportunity to maybe get into some dumb shit.
Well, the day before, Miles had asked Tiffany Marion for that $1,000 chip back.
Oh,
as
no, he
he
didn't.
lost his winnings playing blackjack. So he has to ask her for the money back that he'd given her.
Damn, dude.
So yeah, at this point, out of drugs, he's gambled away all of his money. Hell, they may not even have enough money for to get gas back to Atlanta.
Well, I was going to say that they need
They're broke up. They're busted up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's the atmosphere's changing.
it is.
Right. Yeah.
Mischief is afoot.
Yeah, and now who knows what's
Can
going to
feel
happen.
it coming in the air tonight.
Ooh.
Yeah. So while her friends discuss plans to hit a lick, Tiffany Marion will later say that she had no idea her friends were planning anything illegal.
Yeah, now we'll talk about it more later, but this girl, she really she gets me because it's a lot.
After some discussion, one of the white boys says he wants more marijuana and knows just where to get some. Mangold and Goolsby describe a 33-year-old man named Scott Wiggins who lives about 20 minutes away in Bryson City, North Carolina. They know Wiggins had plenty of guns, drugs, and money.
Wow, so it's funny, they're combining both conversations. We can get some weed. We could go there and buy a bag of weed, it sounds like. Or we could also just go there and rob this guy. We can hit our lick at his place.
Tiffany was lying in the hotel bed at this point when everybody is gearing up to leave. Not wanting to be left out, Tiffany grabs her stuff and followed her friends to the van. So Freak was the only member of this group who stayed behind at the hotel room at Harrah's.
Oh, really? So Freak is the one that has some sense.
So Freak should change his name to Sense.
No, so you. That's kind of funny because Up to this point,
Freak's like, I'm freaking not going. I'm freaking staying here.
yeah, he's not even really been part of what's going on. He just sounds like he's along for the ride, and he sounds like
Maybe he's like Killer Mike's friend Sleep.
oh, but you think he would be leading the charge on this robbery and things like that? But no, Freak's like, fuck y'all. And I just call myself Freak because I'm trying to be cool and shit.
I just came to party and get high.
But I'm actually a very sensible kid with
Sleep in this hotel room.
a valued set of morals that I adhere to.
See? Jeffrey Miles drove the Honda van while Tiffany Marion rode shotgun. The two white boys gave them directions down a country road, John Henderson Road, in what is known as the Galbraith community of Bryson City. So once they arrive at the house, Miles pulls the van over on the side of the road. The white boys have explained that the home's owner, Scott Wiggins, has security cameras like all over the place, including on the driveway. Miles grabs a sawed-off shotgun from the van, while Johnson picks up an unloaded gun that resembles a machine gun. The group huddles around the van having a pre-game meeting, if you will, deciding who would do what once they were inside the house. And Miles grabs a black duffel bag from the van.
Yeah, this is like who does this? What would you do in this situation if you were along for the ride, just hanging out, and you made it to this far where you're actually at this place? You stopped short of the driveway because they're talking about security cameras and they're getting out guns, loaded or not. I mean, this is freaking crazy. And what would you do?
That's when I call my mama to come get me.
You would not be in this situation in the first place.
Well, I wouldn't be in this situation in the first place, but that's when I'm checking out of the situation. I'm calling my mama because, every time I do anything bad, I have to call my mom and tell her.
Oh, my God, I know.
So I'll be calling my mom like, Mom, I'm with these people. You come get me. She'd be like, what the hell, Heather?
I'd be like, we're high as hell. And she'd be like, she gets her phone. I'd be like, don't you call your mom and tell her we're high as hell.
Yeah, she thinks you're a bad influence.
Well, it's possible. No, but but you wouldn't be afraid if you'd made it this far to be like kind of blend into the background and kind of exit stage left.
No, well, I've never been someone to go along with peer pressure. So from the get-go, I would have been like, what the fuck? No, I'm not part of this.
You'd be at the hotel room with freaks sipping a Mai Tai.
Probably. Yeah, I'm not going to get myself in this situation. I'm too much of a worrier about life stuff.
Anytime, I'll say this right quick so you move on. Anytime that we talk about these stories, these groups of friends, young people, they typically always include that one kid who is of a lower intelligence or something. They kind of get used by the group, which it doesn't seem to be the case here so far. And but they just get into the dumbest shit. Or you always have the ringleader.
Well, it's like you get this like a mob mentality almost, right?
Right.
Like people are competing for who's going to be the coolest. There could be some sort of power struggle among the group.
Yes.
So you might have like these two dudes kind of vying for the alpha dog spot, like who's going to be the bigger badass.
Right. There's always these similar dynamics in these groups, no matter the story. And you always have the ringleader, like you're saying, and the number two in command, who, if he could just be as cool as him, maybe he could get the girl. It's very strange.
You always have, it seems like, a girlfriend involved.
Yeah, one of them who's actually a girlfriend of
and then she gets herself involved because she's just so in love.
Yeah.
I'm blinded by love.
Oh, my gosh. So here we got this group of dumbasses pre-gaming their robbery, deciding who's going to do what.
So they're standing around having a team huddle, probably smacking each other's asses. I wonder if they're like doing the hand in, like...
Oh, where the hands on top of each other?
Go robbery!
You should say go Bundy.
Go Bundy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just dated myself.
That's cool. What year was that? 76?
What? Al Bundy?
Yeah.
76?
Isn't that when he talks about winning the big game?
Oh, yeah. See? How do you remember this shit?
I don't. I'm probably wrong. Someone's going to at me. Okay, along with our story. So everybody departs this vehicle, save for Tiffany Marion and Mark Goolsby, who end up standing outside the van smoking for like a long period of time. And after a while, Tiffany gets back in the van, falls asleep.
I think it's described as chain smoking. So they're just obviously just smoking a lot and cigarette.
Nervous, anxious energy in the air, whatever.
Yes.
So as Jada, Jason, and Jeffrey approach the house with Dean Mangold, he suddenly gets cold feet. So the white boy stops before they go inside and dashes away, basically.
Good move.
What happens next is unclear, but either Jason Johnson or Jeffrey Miles kick open the door. The house's two inhabitants, Scott Wiggins and his partner, 34-year-old Michael Heath Compton, are held at gunpoint. Now, the two men are wrangled into an office type of room where Compton is shoved into a recliner. Wiggins is told to lie face down on the ground. Like, get on your belly, lie down on the floor.
So they kicked in the door, waved in the 4-4, and all they heard was, "Papa, don't hit me no more."
The whole while, Wiggins is telling these strangers, "We don't want any problems."
So they're caught unawares. Sounds like they're not. They're making it sound like.
Well, they're ill prepared for a home invasion, as most of us probably are. It's not purge night.
Scott and his roommate,
his partner Heath,
his partner, and so they're just like, "Look, chill. Don't hurt us, whatever." I mean, they know
we're trying to cooperate. We don't want
Right.
any trouble. Take whatever you want. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a natural reaction in a situation like that.
While the men have these two homeowners tied up in this office type of room, Jada's job is to walk around the house collecting anything of value. She loads up guns, cash, ammo, prescription pills, and even a flat screen TV.
Damn, Jada's not playing around.
And so not long after Jada has begun scavenging the house for valuables, she hears a gunshot. When she returns to the office to see what's going on, she finds Heath Compton with a bullet hole in his forehead.
Jesus Christ. See, now this is really not good. It was already a bad situation, but now you've reached this point of kind of no return.
Yeah. So let's talk a minute about our victims. Michael Heath Compton grew up in Virginia and had lived in Bryson City for about 14 years. He had worked as a whitewater raft guide, a snowboard instructor, and as a home health professional. He had begun recently working as a boat broker and a real estate agent. So during this time, he was actually in the process of moving back to Virginia Beach, where he was planning to work in his family's real estate development business.
So he'd been there for a while in Bryson City area for a while, but he wanted to go home.
Yeah. Compton was a true outdoorsman who loved living in the mountains of western North Carolina. He liked boating, kayaking, fishing, hiking, and he adored his two dogs, Baby Girl and Wheeler. Scott Wiggins was described by his siblings as a little mischievous. He was a prankster growing up and always seemed to escape trouble with his charm. In the late 90s, Wiggins built this particular house where he was living on John Henderson Road on a piece of family property that his father gifted to him. Scott played basketball and football for Swain County High School before he graduated in 91. He loved NASCAR races, Jimmy Buffett, camping, and horseback riding. Scott also had what some would consider a very strange obsession with vacuum cleaners. In fact, he loved them so much when he was a kid that his parents gave him a vacuum cleaner for Christmas.
Yeah, I found that was...
which is, I think, kind of a cute story.
That's a cute story, and it must be an obsession if you start... as a child, being fascinated by something to the degree you get a vacuum cleaner as a present, right?
Yes, I thought it was really cute. I wanted to share that. So although he wasn't big on hunting, Scott was a gun collector. In college, he had studied criminal justice and radiology, and he had a couple of different jobs over the years. He worked for Harris Regional Hospital at one point, and then he worked for his father's oil company, which was Wiggins Oil Company. And while he was still working for his father, he began working in the excavation business and flipping houses, which I'm sure is probably something that he and his partner Heath could do together.
Yeah, it sounds like these guys are enjoying life, right? And
young, successful,
but working hard and working hard at various things, and just sound like some really great guys, honestly.
And the pair really enjoyed spending time together at Lake Fontana on Heath's boathouse. And it seems like Scott and Heath had a very solid, loving relationship, according to everybody who knew them. Timothy Waldrop was a local Bryson City man, and on this particular evening, he told his sister he was going to buy some meth from Scott Wiggins. So this would have been Thursday night, early Friday morning.
Yeah, so... okay, I think there's when I was looking through these articles and some of the information you sent me, Scott's family kind of denies that he sold drugs, or that drugs were being sold from his home.
Right.
Correct? I'm sorry. Is that? I don't mean to step on your story.
No, that is correct, and we'll get into more of that in a little bit because his family refutes this notion that he had anything to do with drugs. But later, and I believe I touch on it in the story, when they do the investigation of the house, they do find
some paraphernalia, some signs.
Items that you would use to make methamphetamines. Basically.
Okay, so but according to everyone else involved in these stories, the white boys, that you can go there and buy pot. And you have someone else who's, I'm going to go there and get me some meth.
Yeah.
So obviously, and this doesn't make them terrible people.
Well, and it's not very clear if Scott and Heath were also drug users, like recreational drug users, or if they basically were just dealing drugs, making money. I mean, I don't know.
A lot of people don't realize a lot of times a drug dealer is someone who gets a certain amount for this price, and they sell to whatever to a couple of buddies just so they can get theirs for free. Right, and that doesn't exactly make you Pablo Escobar, right?
Right. Well, when he knocked on Scott Wiggins' door, this Waldrop fella, he was not expecting a gun to be shoved in his face. Like he'd been over there multiple times. Never had happened.
So he's come to get some meth.
Yep.
And he's in and out, and I'm going to go have fun, party down, and there's a gun in his face.
And Waldrop was ordered into the bathroom by Miles and Johnson, and they shoved him into the bathtub. Jada is still loading stolen merchandise into this black duffel bag when she hears another gunshot. She would later say that she saw Wiggins on the floor, and she said, quote, "He had a big-ass fucking hole in the back of his head." Miles took a silver pistol from inside Wiggins' house and shot Waldrop 3 to 4 times with it while he's restrained in the bathtub.
Jesus, you're talking execution style, just in your face. And this is some pretty brutal shit these kids are doing.
Super cold-blooded. At some point while Tiffany and Mark Goolsby are outside, Dean Mangold runs up to the pair, out of the darkness. He's yelling about gunshots and says, "We need to get out of here." Mark Goolsby and Dean Mangold ask Tiffany to run away with them. Skeptical, she says no, fearing that these two strangers might try to rape her if she goes off into the woods with them. So the two white boys flee the scene. Not long after, Tiffany goes to the door and tells her friends, "Y'all need to come on."
So the one white boy who kind of got cold feet as they were heading into the house, he just went back to the van.
Well, no, the guy Dean kind of took off.
But I'm saying
But eventually makes his way, I guess after he hears these gunshots, makes his way back over to his buddy and is like, "We need to get the fuck out of here."
Okay, I got you.
Right? So it sounds like he kind of hung out for a period of time.
He didn't leave the area.
Because this didn't happen in 10 minutes. I mean, this happened over the course of hours.
Yeah, and that's another thing I find amazing about this story is the time frame of how long, and it kind of shows that how dumb these young people were. You're doing this type of criminal activity and kind of just hanging out.
Just this home invasion.
Yeah.
You're not in and out with any purpose. You're lingering. You're almost hanging out.
You don't know what you're doing.
Long enough that you've got people popping in to buy drugs or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by this time, Jada is loading the stolen items up into a white pickup truck, which belonged to one of the deceased men. And it's parked in the driveway. And then her boyfriend or her fiance, Jason Johnson, is sitting in a black pickup truck that also belongs to these two.
Jesus, what dumbasses.
So as Jada returns to the house, Waldrop has managed to stumble out of this bathtub. Now, you got to keep in mind, he's pumped full of gunshots, right? Stumbles out into the living room. Well, Jeffrey Miles tells Jada, "You need to pour some sort of flammable cleaning products all over the floor so we can set this house on fire." And Waldrop, as he's stumbling out into the living room hearing this conversation, he begs her, "Please don't burn down Scott's house." And then he, falls down, crashes into an aquarium.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So Johnson plans to drive this black pickup truck while Miles is going to drive the stolen white pickup. Tiffany and Jada are planning to drive the van back to the casino after all of this has gone down. So at some point, the black truck suffers some type of mechanical failure. So Jason Johnson pulls over, abandons it on the side of the road. He begins knocking on doors, asking if he can use a telephone. And you have to keep in mind, this is not far from the crime scene at all.
No, and it sounds like it's kind of off the beaten path itself.
Well, the fact that he's a black man in an all-white countryside rural area, dirt road, knocking on people's doors, he's noticed, and someone reports a suspicious character to law enforcement. A deputy rolls by not long after and offers Johnson a ride back to the casino, which is across the county line.
Now, I must say, he is a suspicious character. He's been doing all this criminal activity. They're killing people. But the cops were going to be notified, period, about this kid out here knocking on doors, which would probably be true of a kid of any color, honestly, in this part of out in the county like this. It's just somewhere where you don't typically have someone coming by knocking on your door.
Well, right. These are not areas where you're going to have people knocking on the door, asking to use the phone.
No.
Not this kind of hour. And especially, I mean, race is going to be a factor here.
Certainly.
Because this is like cracker country.
Well,
I hate to say that.
Well, it's white. It's older generation.
But it's like white cracker country.
Right. So they're going to, yeah.
They're going to be like, I can hear them on the phone with the cops. You know, there's a colored feller on my doorstep knocking, you know.
That's possibly what they said. But then the cop is not coming in jackboot fucking with this kid. He's offering to help him.
Yeah. I mean, the cop sees him. It's like, oh, you had some problems. Hey, I'll help you get back. So the cop's like doing a good job, you know, trying to be a good, you know, person, do a good deed here for the community. Let's go ahead, pause, take a quick break, Dylan, and we'll be right back. And we are back from our break, Dylan.
Hey.
And we're back at the casino, where Tiffany Marion climbs into the white truck with Jeffrey Miles in order to return to Atlanta.
Damn, I like that.
So
that's a nice segue.
She knows that this is a stolen truck and still climbs in to ride with this guy back to Atlanta.
Yeah, these young people are idiots. I'm sorry. They are.
Jada McCutcheon refuses to leave without her fiancé, Jason, so she waits in the hotel room, falling asleep. The next morning, around 11 a.m., she finds Jason in the hotel lobby. That's when Freak, Jada, and Jason get into the van to haul ass back to Atlanta. It is around 11:30 a.m. on Friday morning when neighbors discover a bloody Timothy Waldrop in a ditch outside the Wiggins house.
Oh, my God. So Waldrop has
been shot in the bathtub,
stumbled into the living room,
crashed into an aquarium,
still cares about Scott and his house.
Yeah, don't burn down Scott's house.
Don't burn down Scott's house, please. And falls down again, and then all this other shit happening around him, and has gotten up again and made his way outside.
Yeah, but then has, you know, so weakened and, you know, struggling, he ends up falling into this ditch. So these neighbors spot him. Barely breathing, he's rushed to Mission Hospital in Asheville. The wounded man had somehow managed to stagger from the living room outside to the road, but then, of course, collapsed soon after. As law enforcement discovers this grisly scene, they are baffled. This was clearly a home invasion with robbery and murder, but there were no leads. They were like, who would do such a thing?
Well, small community. It's out of the ordinary.
Well, that's the thing. Bryson City is a small town where there had only been 4 other homicides since 1980. So in 28 years, 4 homicides.
Yeah, so these cops are, I'm not going to say not prepared for this, but they're certainly taken aback by this scene that they've come upon.
Well, the murders of Wiggins and Compton would be number 5 and 6 as far as murders in this county. As far as most people could tell, Wiggins and Compton were a well-liked couple who had a lot of friends. Now, at the crime scene, investigators did find drugs, guns, and spent shell casings. They found methamphetamine and equipment used to manufacture methamphetamines. So you were bringing that up earlier.
Yeah, so
they did find that.
Scott's family is like, no, he didn't do stuff like that. There seems to be evidence from everyone involved that he had some involvement in that type of thing.
Yeah, there seemed to be some consensus among non-family members. So Governor Easley, who was the North Carolina governor at the time, put up a $5,000 reward for any information leading to an arrest in this double murder. The only lead that law enforcement had was that a call had come in earlier that morning from residents along John Henderson Road who had encountered this out-of-place black man.
Okay, now I get to see that standing out. Now they've found this. There was a strange, not just a black man, but a stranger. Nobody, knows this kid. I keep saying kid. What are they?
I mean, he's like 25 or 20, 21, 20.
Younger people. I'm
they're,
old.
They're like in their 20s.
Okay.
I actually think Jason Johnson wasn't even 21 yet.
I'm sorry. I got to fix this.
Yeah, I can see you over there fidgeting with
I'm
your
sorry.
microphone.
I got to fix my mic. Sorry, guys. Okay, that's better. It's in my face.
Well, a deputy recalled giving this man a ride back to the casino. Now, fortunately, Harrah's state of the art security system allowed law enforcement to piece together the suspects based on the surveillance tapes they were able to recover from the casino's floor and elevators.
Ah, okay. I was wondering what the link would be, but the deputy's like, well, yeah, I took that kid and dropped him off at the casino. And once they get that, you're talking about an area that is under high tech. This is not your mom and pop convenience store grainy footage. This is high tech, state of the art, constant surveillance of every corner of this area. So they can literally piece. I've watched this a show about how they can piece together. You know, it takes them a while because it's so much data and so much recordings. But yeah, it's very interesting. That gives them all the information they need to know about this group, the entire group.
Yeah. So once the videos were found, it didn't take law enforcement long at all to ID the suspects. 2 days later, law enforcement found Jason Johnson at his apartment home in Decatur, Georgia. The gold Honda van was parked in front of the apartment. When Tiffany Marion and Jada McCutcheon were arrested at Tiffany's apartment, law enforcement recovered tons of stolen items, from prescription pain pills, which had Wiggins and Compton's name still on the label.
So they had Jesus. These are rookie people. They're not real criminals. So they got the prescription pills in the bottles from the pharmacy of the victims of the people who got robbed and killed.
Yeah, they also have a Radio Shack scanner that has Wiggins' name written on it.
Jesus.
Marion had Wiggins' credit card, and she also had one of his Chihuahua dogs.
Oh, I'm going to take the dog, too. So it's funny that just that happenstance of that truck breaking down and this strange black man knocking on doors and then a deputy taking him to the casino, if that hadn't happened, it may have been much longer before this case broke.
Yeah. So unfortunately, housekeeping had done a thorough job cleaning room 942 at the hotel casino. So law enforcement found little significant evidence, to put these guys at this crime scene or anything like that. But it sounds like they didn't need it, because once they got to Georgia, they found plenty of evidence. So just 45 minutes into interviewing Marion and McCutcheon, law enforcement arrested Jeffrey Miles about 3 miles away from Tiffany Marion's apartment at a Wendy's restaurant.
So once it starts, it's not going to take them long to get them all into custody.
No, and the suspects were all extradited back to North Carolina to await trial. Now, the story takes an even more unusual turn. Like, if you thought you've heard it all with this story, you haven't. It gets crazier.
It gets kind of goofy.
In March of 2009, Jeffrey Miles, while in custody, manages to woo a 32-year-old mother of 4 named Anita Vestal.
Oh my God, I forgot this.
Who worked as a jailer at the Swain County Detention Center.
He put the moves on her.
Now, baffled, no one could figure out how this could have happened, as the inmates lived in group quarters under the watchful eye of cameras and constant monitoring from central booking. Vestal was married and grew up on the Cherokee Reservation. She came from a prominent Cherokee family, and she had 4 children under the age of 10. So she's got like little stair-step kids.
Okay.
A bizarre home invasion and double murder put Miles in Swain County's detention center, and Anita had only been working there for about 8 months prior to all of this. But none of that seemed to matter to Vestal the day she helped her lover escape from jail.
So I just listened to a Dateline on this same very situation.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, the dog woman.
Yeah, the dog lady.
What the hell was she thinking? But anyway, so I'm actually surprised, because this can happen, that they allow, and I hope this doesn't come off sexist, that they even allow females or males, vice versa, to be in a men's prison or a women's prison.
Because of like fraternization or something?
Because of fraternization or abuse, which a lot, could happen of the inmates by the other person. And I know there's other sexualities and all that, and I'm not trying to get in, but it just seems like you're upping the likelihood of this romance. And because we all know how love is, people do dumb shit when they're into somebody, and it seems like it ups the likelihood of this very situation happening.
Well, and also when you're isolated, like for months and months, and you're not seeing the opposite sex or like whoever you're attracted to, so let's just say he's a straight guy. He's not seeing a whole lot of women.
No.
So this one woman who's sort of paying attention to him, probably smells good, is like, yeah.
Well, and let's be honest, whatever jail or prison is full of typically the people who deserve to be there. Not everybody deserves to be there. Manipulators. Very
horny manipulators.
horny manipulators who are just going to blow that back out after they manipulate and use you. Oh.
Why do I feel like you've been there, done that?
I have not.
Okay.
Well, no, let me correct that. I have not manipulated anybody.
Let's get back to the story there, Dick Packer.
Sledgehammer.
Vestal had managed to slip Miles the jail keys. She took over the jail's control booth to ensure that no one else saw him slip away on camera, and then she ducked out herself.
Ah, so she went all in. She
went all in.
She likes this guy, mother of four, doing fine from a fine family, and she's going all in for love. Okay.
Yeah.
And
She's waving her dick in the wind, man. It's like a Ween song. She's just throwing caution.
Waving her dick in the wind?
Yeah, it's a Ween song.
Oh.
So Miles stripped off his orange jumpsuit and Vestal took off her badge and uniform. They stuffed them under the back seats, changed into brand new clothes, and they stashed her van ahead of their long trip as they head west to California. And I believe they took her father's truck, so like stole her daddy's truck to run away together.
So how did that turn out?
Oh, Dylan, how can such burning love end? Haven't you read Romeo and Juliet?
I don't recall that they back in custody. Is that how it turns out?
Law enforcement officials didn't know if Jeffrey Miles reciprocated feelings for Anita Vestal or if she was merely the means to an end. Detectives half expected that they would find Anita's body in a ditch soon after she had served her purpose, because Miles is a cold-blooded killer.
Well, that's true. I would assume that as well because yeah, he's a cold-blooded killer.
A handwritten note from Anita Vestal discussed their escape plan and told of her romantic feelings for Miles. This note was found in a jail pod trash can, ripped into about 3 or 4 pieces, which of course was easy to reconstruct. It was 3 weeks later that the pair were found together alive in Vallejo, California. Miles had friends there, so the couple hid out in a motel room before being arrested. The pair was featured on America's Most Wanted.
Ooh.
And Anita had made a phone call to her father and was like, I feel really bad about what I've done.
Yeah, I shouldn't have took your truck, Daddy.
But I'm in love with the boy.
But I'm in love with a killer. She killing, he's shooting the people. Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Was that inappropriate?
I was working his pole while he was shooting them people. Huh?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. What?
That seems like our humor is bleeding over onto the victims. I'm sorry. Ooh, was that a pun?
It's bleeding. I know. I was going to say.
I gotta stop. No, I didn't mean anything bad by that.
So the pair, like I said, they were featured on America's Most Wanted, and cops in this area kind of knew that he had some acquaintances around, so they had already been alerted that like this is a possibility to look for this vehicle in this area.
Oh, okay.
So their truck was pretty soon spotted, and Miles was arrested after a short foot chase. Anita Vestal was found at the motel, and she was arrested. She went without any incident. Was just like, yeah, I did it. Take me.
So the chase didn't take long, or did everybody have small feet? I'm sorry, I'm confused.
Well,
Short foot chase.
Well, you have short feet, so you tell me.
Oh man, I'm being extra Dylan-y today. It's Father's Day, bro. You can't hold me down.
You totally have little feet.
Oh, my feet are tiny.
All 6 of Miles' crew from Atlanta, plus the 2 local boys, were charged with murder and robbery. So Jeffrey Miles and Jason Johnson took a plea deal, which spared their lives. Both are serving life sentences in a North Carolina prison. Miles had a lengthy criminal history in Georgia, having served time in prison for drugs and robbery. He had only been released from prison back in 2006. So he'd only been out of prison like 18 months to 2 years.
What a dumbass.
Yeah. Jada McCutcheon sadly committed suicide by hanging while she was in Haywood County's jail awaiting trial in November of 2009.
So Jada's the member who committed suicide?
Yes.
So
Now, she's the one that was actually in the house.
Yeah.
robbing the place.
She was had a way more active involvement than who was the hangout in the van girl?
Tiffany.
Tiffany.
Well, Tiffany Marion pled not guilty and went to trial, but was convicted and sentenced to life in prison despite claims that she didn't know what the crew was doing inside this house.
Now, I read at length about her testimony, and it's pretty ridiculous that she thinks anyone would believe that. She basically, I had no idea what was happening, and she hung around the van out there, chain smoking and hanging out for hours.
She just thought they were going to buy drugs.
Yeah, I just thought we were going to buy drugs and hang out and party, which is total bullshit.
When they took guns out of the vehicle, I didn't know what that was about.
So they started the discussion of...
I didn't realize that this was a stolen truck that we hadn't been driving the whole time, but I'm going to climb in it and ride back to Atlanta.
Yeah, and it's full of stolen goods.
I'm going to take this dead man's dog.
I'm going to take this dead man's dog. I'm going to have all his medicine, his pills, and his drugs.
Because I feel like, obviously murdering someone and a person losing their life is the worst. But I'm like, to add insult to injury, you're going to take the man's fucking dog?
Which is messed up.
You're going to take his dog that was like his baby.
Yeah, his family probably would have preferred to have his dog.
And you're going to fucking steal his dog. Like, to me, that's like another kind of low when you're going to take somebody's damn dog.
So she's full of... She pled not guilty, went to a jury, and she claims, in a nutshell, she knew nothing about robbery or murder, but they started in the hotel room. We're going to hit a lick. It's a hotel room.
Well, even her friend Jada, during the interview, was like quoted as saying, I don't know if everybody... we didn't go around the table and... Yes, we know what's going on, but she was like, everybody knew it would be impossible for someone to not know what we were planning.
How could you not know?
Yeah.
Okay, when they got there, stopped short of the drive, kind of hidden away in the shadows, I'm sure, and got guns out and went into the house. So whatever, you dumbass girl.
Yeah, I know.
Dumbass woman.
Mark Goolsby and Dean Mangold both fled on foot before things got ugly, and they ended up taking like lesser sentences. Like, I think maybe 7 years or less for their involvement. Anita Vestal, the jailer, served 3 years and 9 months for harboring an escapee and some other charges. So Tiffany Marion has since tried seeking a retrial on the grounds that she was not offered a plea deal. And because of this, she said the prosecution was racist because they didn't offer her a plea deal.
Okay.
But they offered the 2 men plea deals.
And they were black as well.
Yeah. So I kind of am not really sure. Like,
the prosecution was a sexist.
Possibly.
Chauvinistic.
I was like reading through this, affidavit or whatever, trying to seek this retrial. But basically what it boiled down to was that she felt she didn't get a plea deal, so they were being racist.
Well, what it boils down to is
the Swain County District Attorney's Office adamantly denied that was the case.
What it boils down to, I think, is she's a dumbass, and she thought she could go to jury trial and win, and she didn't, and now she wished she had took a plea deal.
Right, because her lawyer probably had her convinced that, well, you just pretend you didn't know.
You stayed outside.
You just say you didn't know what was going on.
You'll be all right. You say those 2 guys, the white boys that fled and kind of didn't participate as much. Many states, they would be getting life or death as well for having initiated the robbery and telling them.
And let's be honest, they probably should.
It wouldn't have happened at all if they hadn't have told them where Scott lived.
No.
Period.
No. They are 100% share the blame.
So they did. It sounds like they lucked up a little bit, but I don't think that they should have.
Well, Tiffany is serving the remainder of her life sentence at Noose Correctional Institute in North Carolina. And from what I can tell, she's had like 28 infractions while in prison.
So Tiffany is not a team player.
Tiffany does not seem like prison life is faring well for her. Sadly, Timothy Waldrop survived his gunshot wounds and was slated to be the prosecution's star witness at trial. However, while awaiting trial, he was arrested on some other charges and sent to jail, and he died of a drug overdose while incarcerated, which was listed, I guess, on his death certificate as a suicide, but he died of a drug overdose while he was in jail.
Well, he came to Scott's house to buy more, meth, so he obviously had drug issues, and that sucks. That's sad, and then that certainly doesn't mean he should have any of that should have happened to him. That's horrible.
Well, it's just super sad because I think about he went through this trauma. He survived, made it through. I'm sure it was just a very taxing situation mentally, emotionally, physically.
Yeah.
but you survive and you're like, wow, here I'm a survivor, but then he just turns around and dies. I mean, it's just kind of sad.
This
It's tragedy. This whole story is so fucking sad.
It is so senseless, so random, which, I mean, all murder and all that's horrible in its own way. But this is just...
Well, this is kind of the first case that we've covered where there was really no... I'm not going to say there was no motive, because obviously, robbery was the motive.
Right.
But there was no motive in that, like, this was someone we knew. This was a revenge killing, a cheating husband, whatever. I mean, it's just such a random act of violence. I think it's our first home invasion that we've covered. I feel like this is a very unique case, and that we haven't covered one like this before on Mountain Murders.
Yeah, but I mean, you're a bunch of strangers to these people. If the local boys, if you could have even played your cards like that, you guys kind of stay back, don't let them see you. We get you, we tie you up good, and just take your shit and leave. You didn't have to shoot them. I mean, they gleefully embraced all the violence in as far as this went.
No, they totally did. And I think there's like another layer of depravity when it comes to a home invasion.
Home invasions are very scary.
That's super scary because that's your sanctuary, that's your space.
And none of us are ready.
You're so vulnerable in your home.
Very few of us are ready if we answer our door and someone kicks it in and does what they did to them. Very few people would be ready to stop that. So we all literally are vulnerable in our own homes, and that's so scary to have that come into your home.
That is why we need a Home Alone type of security system. I'm prepared. We need a couple of paint cans that we can swing off the porch and hit people in the head.
Right.
I've already got the Hot Wheel and Matchbox cars, which we can just spread all over the floor.
Okay, I'm going to nail some nails through shingles and glue them down to the front stairs.
Sounds great.
Okay,
we should all be prepared. So, y'all, I want you to up your security system.
But no, what you were saying, I'd like you to finish that point because we discussed this at length about home invasions and this type of murder.
Well, yeah, I mean, because one, you're so vulnerable inside your home. Most of us are not expecting killers to just bust up through the door. So there's that, which in itself is terrifying. And then on top of it, you're tied up. And I feel like anybody who's going to tie up a person, knowing their intention is I'm going to kill you, but you tie them up for a couple hours and then you do it, is like super sadistic.
That element right there.
I mean, to me, that's like maniacal.
Is all murder's bad and everything, but some things happen in the heat of the moment and stuff like that, and you're like, wow, that sucked, but I see what happened, or I understand how it turned out.
Well,
this
I guess
way.
I maybe could understand it more like if you just busted up in this house and immediately were like bang bang and shot the two owners dead.
That's it.
Instead of tie them up, and you're obviously getting the best of these guys. You're stealing their shit. They're helpless. But then you're just randomly going to shoot them, and then like shoot one and then wait like an hour to shoot the other. So he has to look at his dead partner.
Yeah. So that element,
his boyfriend or whatever. I mean, that's just, it's so fucked up.
It's another level of being sadistic and cold. That it's just like if you cut a human body up. I mean, that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother level of cray. And this is a level of being sadistic and almost enjoying seeing someone terrified and wondering what you're going to do when you've already got control of them.
You just gave me a good idea, Dylan, to derail the conversation in a Dylan type of fashion. We should start our own or create our own Mountain Murders cray chart. And it could be like the terror scale.
Ooh.
Where you could have different colored levels of crazy.
Okay.
And like different levels of like,
Oh, and we can be like, this is code purple or something. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to get to work on that tonight.
Yeah, I think that would be a fun art project. I'll get you some colored pencils.
Okay, so unfortunately, I need to wrap this up and get back to life because
Dylan has to go back to work.
The man's going to make me work on my one day of the year when I'm being celebrated.
It's true.
It's my birthday. It's every time. But anyway, you have anything more? Thank you for that story. It's super sad and it's horrible. It happened to Scott Heath and Mr. Waldrop.
Yeah.
Is that right? And I think those young people, young adults, or whatever.
They made a really bad choice.
They're pieces of shit.
Not only have they killed essentially 3 people, but man, they fucked their lives up forever.
I'm going to say it. It's a flock of shitbirds rode up from Atlanta.
And then your friend killed herself? I mean.
And then destroyed so many lives.
Damn.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so if you want more content, sign up at patreon.com/Mountain Murders Podcast. Of course, we have ad-free episodes there, lots of bonus extra episodes, and we have our Discord chat. You can also drop us an email, mountainmurderspodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and on Facebook. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will be back on Wednesday with another offbeat episode. Dylan, tell the folks out there goodbye.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your Father's Day, and I'll catch you later.